Oh, what is up? The Happiest Hour. Hey, there you guys are. Now it's even better camera. The Happiest Hour. I'm so excited. Brendon Lemon here from a brand new space. Look at this. If you are in the middle of sheltering in place, if you're in the middle of the pandemic, you need to think about this. At least you're not moving during the pandemic. At least you're not moving during the pandemic, and at least you're not moving during a thunderstorm during the pandemic. I had the trifecta of things. Moving stuff here in Chicago, Illinois, it was extremely challenging, but we're here. We're finally here. You can see I've got my trusty humor. If any of you guys are watching from Michigan, this is the humor. This is the section. This is the sign from the section, the humor section at the old Little Professor bookshop in downtown Plymouth. It was there for years. It closed its doors like 25 years ago, and I somehow got it. So I'm excited to have it. Drinking today a very exciting beer, Middle Brow. Here we go, Middle Brow Wild Beer. Hopefully you've got a drink in your hand. Hopefully we're having a good time. Daniel Nelson, I know, is drinking. He's out there. Rachel Rosina is drinking. I'm excited. This is a good time. It's a good time for all of us to just chill. Hear what I mean? 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern, 11:30 GMT. If you're going to be watching over the weekend, if you're not going to be doing anything over the weekend, just want to watch something, check me out. I'm going to be at on a Moscow comedy show run by Oleg Denisov. The secret joke, the secret. I'll have to double check on this. I probably should know that, but I'm going to be doing stand up remotely on his show. The guy's like really amazing, and pardon me, it's called Steal the Show at GMT +3 over this weekend. So hopefully you guys can tune into that. I'll post it obviously when it'll be happening. And Dan Nelson, glad to hear you're drinking Guinness. With me, as always, I should have introduced you sooner, buddy, as my good buddy Lancey Joe. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing,
man? You doing all right?
Yeah, why didn't you introduce me earlier? This is ridiculous.
I'm sorry. I feel like I should have, but I needed to go on that whole rant. I needed to go on a winding, imprecise rant that arrived at introducing you.
You were talking about some show you're on that you had to recall the details.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it's so bad because I had to film a promo for the show. So first of all, Oleg Denisov is a great dude. He's really nice. He's super fun. He's a Russian comedian. He's from Moscow. I met him in Edinburgh. He was a guest at the show that I did. And I think you met him also actually while you were over there. And he's a wonderful dude. And he reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, we're having a bunch of international people come in to do English comedy at the show remotely. You should check it out." And I was like, "That sounds great." And I had to film a promo for his show, Lance, and I couldn't remember the name of the show. I read it like a dozen times, and I still couldn't freaking do it. I feel like the worst friend.
No, that's okay.
Steal the Show is the name of the show. Steal the Show. Yeah, Steal the Show. So how are you doing, man? It's been a little while since we spoke. I'm now post-move. Still kind of sorting out the move, which is really frustrating. It's been pouring rain. It's been challenging. There's still things I got to move after the show.
You still have stuff at that other place?
Oh yeah, I still got stuff at that other place. It's like honestly, Lance, it's like a nightmare.
What's the big holdup?
The rain. The limits of physical space inside of the truck that I'm trying to move things with.
Oh, okay. The truck.
The difficulty in dealing with whether or not. So here's the thing. So it's a long story, but downsizing is what's going on. So there was had a big apartment, moving to a smaller apartment for a whole bunch of different reasons, and all of the things that were in the bigger apartment have to go somewhere. And you can't really do that. They're just like in the living room, it's like boxes and all kinds of stuff. So trying to like sort that stuff out is like so there's literally just boxes. Like I could show the camera around. Like there's literally just boxes around. I have no space to move in this room.
I have no space to move. It's a tremendous hassle.
Tremendous. Now that the camera's in front of me, I can do this like really properly. We have the biggest hassles, the biggest. Canada, pretty big hassle. Here, the biggest. Some people are saying the biggest. You're going to say, no, I don't want that big of a hassle.
That kills me.
I know, dude. I look like if Trump's outside looked like his inside, this is what he would look like.
He would look like a Midwestern dad.
It's just a matter of time, man. This pandemic is causing me to really look inside, and what I find I don't like.
I've been trying to tell you for years, man. Look inside. No, you're great.
Thanks, buddy.
I hate that you're going through a tough time with this.
Yeah,
move,
what are you going to do? You know what I mean? We all go through ups and downs. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you can use my example of a very frustrating time and go, at least I'm not moving apartments during this situation. At least I'm not moving apartments and having to part with, having to con Marie things that I've owned for years in order to try to fit into this new apartment. So,
right.
You can rest assured, at least you're not doing that. You know what I mean?
Is Gloria there with you?
Gloria's here in this apartment. She's moving around. She's the one who's... if Gloria had one wish, it would be, let me take a lot of the things that Brendon owns and throw them in a pile and light it on fire. I mean, she really wishes... would you guys... Maybe we should do that for charity. If you guys want her to do that, comment in the section, and maybe we'll produce something for charity benefit of all of this.
Burn things of yours for charity or give it to charity. I think giving it to charity might be a better cause.
I think we might make more money than giving it. I think it might be more useful if I sell tickets online for people to watch my things burn and then give that money to charity. That's what my intuition tells me about this situation. So how's it going in GTA for you, man?
I'm stuck on some firefighting missions right now. Anybody who's played Grand Theft Auto Vice City knows that the ambulance missions are hard, but I knocked those out already. And the firefighting missions are hard. The main storyline has been over for me. And even the side mission or the side stories have been, they're over. So I'm just doing a lot of busy work right now that the creators of Grand Theft Auto.
I think hopefully Daniel Nelson is still watching. Go get your brother to tune in and listen to Lancey talk about this. I have a friend, Joe Nelson, who is so into Grand Theft Auto, and not only was he into Grand Theft Auto, he was very into Grand Theft Auto Vice City. It was like his favorite one to play. The fact that it was in Miami was it was unbelievable. He really, really enjoyed it. It was his entire aesthetic. If my friend Joe could be anything, not just any time or any place, just anything, he would be a Hawaiian shirt from the 1980s. Like, that would be his favorite thing to be.
So that game was really spoke to him, huh? It's a spirit animal.
Dan just commented, Joe is obsessed with Vice City. That's so funny. It is his spirit animal. I feel like if I don't know what my spirit animal would be, maybe. Probably, I'll tell you what it would be. It would be a footnote in a textbook. That would be my spirit animal. This is the section where the author went off topic. That's what it would say. Actually, what happened in the summer of 1972 in relation with this.
Have you read Infinite Jest?
No, it feels like a book I should have read, though. That was a good point.
You're 0 for 2. I asked you about War and Peace, and now you haven't read Infinite Jest either. I haven't justified this charcoal blazer at all. Well, you would love Infinite Jest because there's a crap ton of citations. There's pages and pages of them.
Dude, I actually like the essays by that author, David Foster Wallace. Have you read Consider the Lobster or any of the essays in there? His the whole thing that he wrote about the porn industry is so fascinating to me. Yeah.
So Consider the Lobster, I guess, was a collection of essays. Like, there's 3 of them, I think, right?
Yep, that's right.
So there's there's
more than 3. There's
one.
His so there's a Consider the Lobster, which is actually him talking, I think, about lobsters. But there's
which is excellent. It's excellent.
It's very good. The best one was, I think, on him writing about Maria Sharapova, the tennis. Yeah. It's so good. Sorry, Dave Landau, our guest today, is reaching out to me. Sorry, guys, for having to watch me type in my typeface. This is
I'll do a type 5 while you get that straight. I just flew in here from Vice City, and boy, are my arms tired.
I'm so excited for our guest today, Dave Landau.
Me too. I've heard you talk about him before. I've never met him, I don't think.
Well, Dave is... So let me tell you about Dave, and then we'll tell the audience about Dave. So Dave is... By the way, look how insane my hair is getting. due to, not to mention the beard, which is already, I mean, viewers of the show will know has been strange for some time. I don't know how you keep it so clean cut, buddy. You look like you're reporting the news. You know what I mean?
It's Lancey Joe live here in Chicago, Illinois, 60613. And the rain continues to fall as the traffic kind of backs up here at North Center, right here at Dead Man's Curve at Lincoln and Irving Park.
Are you at Lincoln and Irving Park? Is that where you're at? You're up in Lincoln and Irving Park?
I'm close. I'm at Ravenswood and Berteau.
Oh man, right by where the old mayor's house was. So anyway, let me tell you about Dave. So Dave is a great dude. Dave's been on. Dave's a buddy. He's a very nice man. Super generous with his time. Super helpful to young comics. He's also from Detroit. He lives not far away from where I grew up, actually, in Canton, Michigan. Literally like 2 miles from where I grew up. And he's took me on the road with him a little bit. Travis Spots, who we should also get as a guest on this show, introduced me to him, and who's another comedian from Michigan I met in Manistee, which is a town you've never heard of. And anyway,
I've heard of the animal before.
the manatee. I'm talking about Manistee. The manatee is an animal you've heard of. So anyway, where this is going is that Dave is just a super nice guy, and he's done a bunch of different stuff. He's done this is not happening. He's been on a whole bunch of late night shows. He's live at Gotham, just a whole bunch of different things. And I run into him in New York all the time, or did when comedy was going on. And he's also on Compound Media, and he's had me on his show on Compound a couple times. He's been on the Anthony Cumia show, who's Anthony Cumia formerly from Opie and Anthony. And right. So this is kind of the perfect storm for me because I can describe a famous comedian and his relationship to other famous people.
Yes, it's great.
I mean, in many ways, I couldn't be happier. That is too funny. So I'm just excited that he's on the show. He's going to be a good dude. We'll call him up here in a minute.
Yeah.
How was your weekend, man? It's been a while. We didn't do the Happiest Hour yesterday because of moving difficulties, which have been going on for a fucking week, I should say, by the way. But, like, what have you been up to aside from playing GTA, man?
Let's see. Yesterday I went over to the pantry. I don't go over in that area a lot. And then I came back and I was beat. By the time I got back to the couch, I was tired. So took a little nap and then went to the bedroom later.
Buddy, you had a relaxing time.
Well,
you and Laura were doing some broadcasting, though.
Oh, yes. Yeah, my show. Yeah. I was making a joke about the commute within the house is unbelievable right now. I'm late to appointments, and there's absolutely no commute time. I'm within the house. I'm late to things. How could this be possible?
You got to reach that checkpoint in Vice City, buddy.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't go outside of that.
If the creators of Vice City would just come up with some blips or some sort of subtitles to tell me what to do in regular life.
I love that you're playing this game. This game is like 15 years old. Like, when did this game come out?
Yeah, I guess 17 years old. 18 years old. It was 2002.
What?
Yeah.
2002 is when that came out? I was still in high school when that game came out. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, some just have staying power. You know what I mean? That's what's so weird about going back and looking at video games. Like, one day, maybe, I'll have kids if I don't, sit in front of the microwave. And they're going to play video games, and some of them might be recreations or even just retro versions of the other games that I used to play. Dan Nelson just said 2003. Whoops. That was a good guess, though, Dan. That's just wild, man. All right. I say we call up Dave Landau here, and we'll get him on the phone. He's telling me he's ready, so we'll dial this buddy up. Lancey Joe. Oh, here we go. Let's see. With every time this happens, man, it's always a difficult. It's always a crapshoot to see whether or not this thing actually works. I gotta tell you, Ecamm Live is pretty amazing, though.
Yeah. Your computer starts smoking. And...
I know, just sparks start shooting out this. You'll see it in the reflection of my glasses. You'll see suddenly a smoke because the camera up here is not part of the computer. Hey, there he is.
Can you see me?
Hey, we got you, buddy.
I'm trying to angle this.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Angle it up just a little bit more so we get you. There we go.
I'm resting it on a pocket pussy. Not even kidding.
Are you in the compound office? Is this where you are?
Yeah. It's an auto blow 2. So trying to get the angle right. So I'm doing this on my phone right now.
By the way, nice mustache, Dave.
Thank you. I also just got a mohawk today because I fucked my head up.
Nice.
Can we swear on this? I should have asked.
You're fine, man. Whatever.
Okay.
Bullshit, bastard, damn, shit. It's all okay on here. How's it going in New York, man?
It's good. I'm living in the compound house right now. So this is the basement studio in which we film, all the stuff. So yeah, then we have our table out there where we film. So yeah, it's going pretty good, man. I go back and forth to Detroit every weekend and come here and just trying to make it work.
Yeah, that's what you were talking about. Is you're going back to? Are you still living in Canton over there?
Yeah. I live on the west side of Detroit. Yeah. Same place. And then we'll just come back here, and then I live upstairs at Anthony's. And I haven't been to my apartment in Harlem in I can't keep track of time anymore. 6 weeks,
No,
maybe?
There's only 3 days to the week now, man. There's yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Thanks, coronavirus. It's me.
Yeah, I can't do it, man. I don't get it. I don't know what's happening.
You guys have been, so it's been fun to watch because you guys are now, you're not in the studio, you're in the house. So the background and the show is so different.
Oh, yeah. This show is completely different. Well, because we're sitting around his poker table. And we're just doing it like friends talking, so it has a different feel than a news set or whatever. Not that we were ever giving any real news or anything remotely reliable. But you've been to that. I mean, you've done a fair one on our network, so you know how it's a little. I don't know. It's less awkward than being in that single file.
Yeah.
Bro, it's nice to be around a table, to be honest.
Well, yeah, because it's the way that it normally is. So for the person listening or watching, the way that I'm so used to podcasting. You can Lance, my co-host, can attest.
Hi, Dave.
I continuously go hey, for you listeners, for you podcast listeners, it's weird. So for you guys watching, what Dave is referring to is normally what goes on in Compound Media is there's a single host of the show, and then there's a panel that's next to the show that sits across from the co-host. And it is kind of awkward because you have to continuously look to your right, and then the camera is directly on you guys. So basically Anthony sits there like Lord of the Manor, and the rest of you guys are kind of all just lined up.
Yeah, and Jimmy sits next to him occasionally, and I'll be moved next to him occasionally. But other than that, we're never really next to each other. And it's there's prompters and stuff. We don't write anything, but it'll just say what video or who's calling in. And this is more just winging it, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, honest to goodness, man. It's just so I've been there a couple of times now for a fair one, and then for Karen Margolis's show that she ended up doing, Nerdgasm. And
you did her pilot, right?
Yeah, I was on her pilot. Yeah. And it was it's so much fun, man, sitting around in that environment and just kind of shooting the shit and talking about stuff, and it's a good time. I see why people tune in.
Yeah, there's really nothing like what we're doing, and we started with certain reputations and right wing and all this other shit, and it really is just comedy. My show is comedy, a fair one. I really want to build into when you came on, McClowry came on, we really want to build it into a very comedy centric show as far as stand-ups go. I really want to just make that more stand-up specific than anything else on the network.
Yeah, well, too bad you brought me on so that you had that KKK presence.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, you're very adamant about your beliefs.
Wait till you hear my accent.
Yeah.
It's going to get intense real quick.
You do look like a soldier in for the Confederacy.
I know, right? It's this is my quarantine beard, and I kind of made the decision a while ago that I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it go, and we'll see what happens. And I think it becomes a bigger part of my personality. Like as it grows, I start molding myself around the beard.
Yeah, you just like all of a sudden you're looking at those wool coats that are gray.
I don't see anything wrong with the stars and bars.
Yeah, you leave that statue alone now.
I've gotten a lot more interested in history.
Yeah, your giant books all over your house, first editions. No, what happened to me was I've had a mohawk and I finally grew my adult haircut back. Yeah. And then I was cutting my hair the other night in the bathroom, and my dog jumped on me, and it ruined part of my head. Like the fucking blade went right into my head, and I tried to dye it and fix it, and I'm like, fuck it. So I had to do another mohawk all over again.
It looks natural on you now, man. I feel so used to watching you with it.
If you look, it's like it's super big because I don't know how to cut it with scissors. So I look kind of like Zool at the end of Ghostbusters. It's like that real puffy 80s thing. It's really gay. Sorry. There's no other word I can think of. And I'm already effeminate, so this doesn't help my case.
That's perfect. People, you need to go down to the West Village, and people will be like, "Who's this cute lesbian?"
Yeah. Hey, they already do. Take off the mustache, sweetheart. I know you want to party.
Ooh, how long have you been on testosterone?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It looks like it's really working out for you. You look almost like a man. Almost.
Oh man, the joke on this show is Lance is clean shaven. Lance looks like he's a defensive coordinator for a Big Ten school. But I
was going to say he looks like a basketball coach.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad. Yeah, that's not a bad thing on picture.
When this show needs to get a loan, we send Lance in to talk to the banker.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, I look like a Midwest dad as much as possible. I look like I'm dropping the kids off for Sunday school right now with this jacket.
You do, yeah. I see. It's you look more like a Southern dad in the 1800s, and you're in a wagon.
Oh, I've never wished I had my hats at hand more so. I would put a straw hat on.
Oh, that's not. Even a Union soldier hat would be great with the two little guns. There's nothing wrong. I like that it's handlebarring. That's nothing to be ashamed of.
I got the. I'm trying to do the Salvador Dali where I can twist it up. If I can get it back up into my own nostrils, I feel like I've accomplished something during this quarantine.
Yeah, you look like the Wright brother that figured out the plane, not the special one who he made test them.
No, this'll work, Orville.
Yeah, go on.
No, you get on it, Orville.
Yeah, pedal harder, idiot.
You know that they weren't really sure that it was going to work out because they built the flyer in Dayton, Ohio, but they flew it in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. That's how far they had to go to make sure that nobody knew that they were doing this.
How did they get it there?
They couldn't have flown it.
No, they're just driving it down the interstate. It's a plane.
What I love about it is like they've got the flyer in like the Smithsonian Museum, so you go check it out, and it's clearly like the thing is like made out of like bed sheets and Scotch tape. Like it's barely put together. And
it's ridiculous.
You think it might not have flown. Like it could have like literally a breeze off the ocean could have caught this thing and like taken it right up.
Right.
It weighs like 100 paper clips. It's like not very heavy at all.
Yeah, it's great. It's a good point. Like they basically invented a bike that could fly, and then Howard Hughes invented the airplane. Yeah. They really did. Like, I don't want to take credit away from him, but it is kind of true. It's like Thomas Edison, where it's like he invented everything. It's like, no, he worked as a patent clerk and lied.
Yeah, that's
People came in.
That's so funny. That's
People
how
just
you
come
know.
in. They're like, I invented this, and he's like, oh, it was just invented just a minute ago. Sorry.
That's how you know that Einstein is a real genius, is because he worked at a patent office and has no patents.
Right.
You're like,
that's the sign when you have that idiot savant thing where it's like you can do something amazing, but you're too stupid to figure out how to do anything else in life.
Well, that's like the Wright brothers never had relationships at all.
Did they not? Really?
That's how hard relationships are. They figured out how to fly a plane, and they couldn't figure out relationships.
That sounds like a setup to a
about
rom-com. That sounds like the line the best friend says, like, Orville and Wilbur, you guys know how to, you can conquer flight, but you can't conquer love.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, we're not getting nagged all day to do stuff. We have all the time in the world to invent.
Yeah, let's get on time travel next. Why don't we do that?
Yeah, if you weren't interested in sex, can you imagine what you'd get done? You'd be like, I just made it. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to go neuter ourselves and take this comedy to the next level.
I know. It's like I would be Elon Musk. I'd be like, I can't even pronounce his name.
It'd be the Elon Musk of comedy.
Yeah.
I'd open a gigafactory wherein I manufactured jokes on the West Coast.
It's like, wait, what are we doing for 5 years? I invented time travel. Oh, that's neat. You got a lady in your life? No, I invented time travel.
Cool. So you can go back in time and not be a virgin in high school?
Nope, just gonna invent more stuff. Seems like a burden.
Oh, by the way, is that your phone vibrating, or is that one of the sex toys back there?
That is definitely my phone. I swear. It's the auto blow. I'll try to lift it, and it gets text. Usually I get text right around now, and I am not savvy enough to figure out how to stop it.
The text? Who's texting you around now?
Oh, it's always the missus, pictures of my son, that sort of thing. And then we do the Skype thing, and then I go home and I spend several days with him. That's
cute, man. I think you got a pretty good setup, man. You get to hang out, have fun, do cool shit with cool people. Then you get to go back to the hometown and chill out in Metro Detroit. And you got, honestly, Dave, you got like kind of the best of both worlds. I mean, I'm sure it's challenging to be away from him and stuff, but otherwise, I feel like you got the, you've got kind of the setup over there.
Dude, I love it. Yeah, and well, we're used to it. I mean, I've been doing this since I was 19, 20, so it's always been my adult life doing this. We're used to it. It's totally fine. And my son loves it. I get to spend all weekends with him right now, which is a cool thing because usually it's like flying out to gigs or, he'll come out or I have to leave at 8:00 to do a show. Not every week. I always take weekends off, but it is nice to just get this time. Like I'm using just that as a silver lining to get a lot of stuff done.
Oh yeah. Well, this has got to be, it's good that you've got, obviously you've got the Compound Media gig, man, which is so funny. Everybody who's watching all 8 of you should go check out Compound Media. Is like for real. It's like everything that you guys are doing is hilarious and fun, and it genuinely, it's funny because it has something. You guys have captured lightning in a bottle in a kind of way because it genuinely feels like you're just hanging out with your buddies. And like some other podcasts have like kind of also got this, but the fact that when you watch the show, it's so entertaining and you feel like I'm hanging out in a living room with these people. That's like what I think the Compound Media kind of advantage is,
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because I would drive around the country to do gigs and listen to Opie and Anthony. And I always, loved Anthony. And it's like I never thought that I would be his co-host on his own show. It never even crossed my mind. So it's an interesting thing because it is just hanging out with somebody who I feel like I've known even longer than he's known me, because it's been a part of my life. It's like old Stern, you know?
It's the same way. I grew up watching Magic Johnson play basketball, and little did I know I would have AIDS.
Right. I loved O.J. Simpson, and little did I know I would murder my wife.
And a waiter.
Yeah, and a waiter returning her sunglasses.
Oh, man. I mean, same thing. I mean, Lance, I don't want to do your jokes, Lancey. God damn it.
What's the joke? I couldn't think of one.
Well, you're the Michael Jordan of comedy.
Oh, yes, yeah. Because my credit score is 23. No, that's not the joke. That's not the joke, is it?
No, it's because you have a crippling gambling addiction.
Yes, that's the one.
It says that Michael Jordan's worth $2.1 billion, but at the same time, he still only wears the Hanes T-shirts they give him.
That's how people get so rich.
Yeah, have you noticed that? I'm watching that show, and I'm like, the guy's wearing a $2 T-shirt, sitting in this massive house, and he was terrible with gambling.
He's so bad at gambling. His net worth is fluctuating constantly. It's just up and down. 1 million 1 minute, and then back up to 2 billion, and
right, just here and there.
Yeah,
just another Hanes. Have you ever heard his Gatorade ad where it's like 400 takes to get him to say a sentence?
Oh my God, I can so
Really?
believe it. Every single one of his commercials, everything that he does is it all feels like they got this is the like every time you watch it, you go, this is the best take. Like
ever, yeah. It's him. He has to say, "Is it in you?" Just like that, and they're like, "Is it in you?"
Yeah. Well, probably because in between when they go like, "All right, Michael, action," and then he's gonna be like, "All right, first of all, fuck the fucking high school teacher who took me off of the team for the blah blah." Like,
yeah.
That's the
They're
one.
like, cut. I see where you're going there, but
I know.
let's just
God
tone
damn it.
back.
Lance knows, Dave, I have no sports references. I know nothing about sports. It's the worst.
It's so odd because I do like sports, but I don't really watch them and I don't pay attention. Like I know enough where I just watch a little bit, But now with it being gone and me talking to people, it turns out I have a lot more knowledge than I thought that I did.
Yes.
And it's just because I grew up in a sports family. I was forced to play sports when I didn't want to. I guess I'm just interested in the Bulls documentary because my son's favorite movie is Space Jam right now.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's his favorite movie right now. He just turned 5, so he loves it.
Oh, my God.
So we watched that together, and then I'm like, yeah, I forgot how great this dude was. Then that got dropped out, and because he was fucking incredible. Like Jordan versus Bird, we always played.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And then even being, from Michigan, it was always Magic versus Bird until they didn't want him to play anymore because he might skin his knee and kill everyone.
Magic.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of everything I know, and also the Red Wings at one point. I think it was hard to be in Detroit and not pick up something from.
Oh my God, you had to
town.
be. I mean, it was Hockey Town for the long. I mean, it was like, with the exception of the Montreal Canadiens, it's the winningest franchise in hockey. And it was like for 7 years. It was like every year we went to the Stanley Cup playoffs and almost made it every year. It was It was like when I was probably between when I was like 10 and when I was like 21, I want to say. So it was like an 11-year period of time. It was like every year it was playoffs. Every year it was like, it was the craziest thing. There was places, it was so, this is how you know it was a serious thing, is that people made business decisions based on this. Like, people would name their bars, like, Octopus Hockey Town Bar. And, like, that's the, wait, like, you're putting your life, you're betting the farm? Like, you're mortgaging your house?
Yep, you're not even near there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're in Howell, Michigan. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and well, in fairness, that is the only sport that they're going to watch in Howell. That is Clan Country.
yeah,
And I watch it.
that's true. Good point, Dave. That's exactly right.
It's so odd. You have to pass Howell to get to the Palace of Auburn Hills at the time. But that is true, though. I mean, I knew the not to brag, the Zamboni driver.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, for a while that was like a big deal. Like there were two people who became. This is how big hockey was. Not to interject, Dave, just to say this real quick. That's how
you're
big
good.
hockey was in Detroit. There were two people who became famous in Detroit, and you're 20 years on, I don't almost 30 years on, I don't quite remember their two names. But they, for a while, were like known people. And one was the Zamboni driver, and the second was the guy who came on the ice to pick up the octopus that someone had thrown, and he would spin it before leaving the ice. And that was his claim to fame. And people knew him. Like there were people would be like, "Oh shit, dude! I was downtown the other day. I went to the Sugar House in Corktown, and you know who I ran into? That guy." And he was surrounded by strippers, and it was the most craziest thing in Detroit for a while.
Oh, he was very well off, and my friend was dating his daughter at the time, and because he drove around getting octopuses chucked at him while he was cleaning the ice, and that was and he became, because he was doing national television interviews. I mean, he was getting huge based on it. And I remember the Stanley Cup being at his house. Like they brought it there.
Oh yeah, they brought it there.
Yeah, and you could go up and touch it, and then I went inside, and I was a degenerate, so I tried to steal a bunch of Red Wing stuff to sell for drugs. But that's a different story altogether. She caught me because I was walking with a golden putter signed by Iserman in my pants. And they're not very bendy.
Why are you walking so straight-legged, Dave?
Yeah, I'm like, what? What do you mean? I'm all drunk.
How many grams is this putter worth?
Yeah. It's signed by Iserman.
Yeah, well, Iserman used this putter to make the Game 7 goal against the Avalanche.
Yeah, it's a pawn shop. They're like, $20.
I can't sell that. Yeah, sorry. Nope.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe. I can get back to you.
I'm telling you, I'm doing you a favor. I can see you can't walk straight.
I saw Fedorov at a gas station. A bunch of my friends were high in my buddy's car, and we looked back, and they're like, that's Sergei Fedorov. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, I'm going to get his autograph. So I grabbed my homework I wasn't going to do anyway, and I run up, and I'm like, hey, can I get an autograph? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he signs it. And there's this hot blonde girl in the car, and she's like, do you want mine too? And I was like, why would I want your autograph? I just thought it was like a trophy wife. And I walked away, and I got in the car, and I'm like, yeah, some girl with them thought I wanted her autograph. They're like, dude, that's Anna Kournikova.
Yeah.
I completely just dissed Anna Kournikova.
Well, I went to high school with a woman who married Pavel Datsyuk. And yeah, her father used to own this is some real inside baseball, but used to own the Box Bar in Plymouth, Michigan. And
I know it. Right
downtown, which is no longer the Box Bar. It's now the Arbor Brewing Company's tap house, but they have retained all the original. It was a 200-year-old bar. It was insane, but it was like all the original architecture they kept, which was pretty cool. Anyway, the point is, she married Pavel Datsyuk, and everybody constantly was hitting her up for autographs from that guy. He's he should have been a figure skater or something. That's the one thing that I do know about hockey or about sports is that the guy's unbelievable to watch.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nancy, I know we're talking about hockey, which is not exactly the sport of Memphis.
Yeah, I think you're making up names and locations at this point.
Yeah, man. You remember Jabberil Kadumfam? Kadumfarov, great Red Wing.
You talk about the Tennessee Queer Hunters?
Now that I can get behind.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, my accent sounds like Brendan's beard should.
Yeah. I love Memphis. I love Beale Street. I used to go long ago. It's such a great town. They don't really have
really
comedy. They don't really have comedy clubs there anymore, or at least, yeah, it's a shame, man. It's such a great city.
It really is. I don't know. There, when I was growing up, there was always two comedy clubs. There was one on its way out, and there was the one that is new, and it was waiting. It never had its time in the sun because that other one would hang on just long enough to screw both their businesses. So then that one became the one that's about to go out. And a new one.
I think it was called Comedy Tennessee, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I used to play it, and I used to love those crowds, man. I like Southern crowds anyway. You're more, at least in the major cities, more respectable. You know, if you get in the podunk areas, I mean, that's anywhere you go, though. It can be different, but I mean, it is usually a more respectable crowd in parts of the South.
One of the things we talk about on this show a bunch is Lance and I talk about working the road when you get outside of any major city, especially New York and Chicago. The palette of the crowd changes quite a bit based on what they're willing to tolerate and not tolerate from major city versus literally anywhere else, almost.
Well, if you drive 40 miles outside of any major city, it's, wolf sweatshirts and,
and
camo
Indian
trucks.
woven carpets. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they all have dream catchers. None of them have either dreams or an Indian friend.
Do y'all know this carpet is 100% Cherokee hair?
Yes, it is. Yeah. I saved the scalps for many years.
My grandfather and his father made most of these scalps.
It's like, what do you mean made? Took them.
Oh my gosh, man! I mean,
Yeah,
they
I
were
was
using them.
No, they're just in the way. Look, we had to win. Everybody can get upset about butter, but let's be honest, our parents would have never met if it wasn't for that. So whatever.
Oh boy, yeah. Oh wow.
I know that's a terrible statement, but I don't care.
It's accurate. I feel like who would, you know what I mean? It wasn't Fort Pontchartrain du Detroit wasn't doing Pontiac and his crew a whole lot of good. So
No, it did.
How many copper shipments were going down the St. Lawrence before they arrived?
Have you ever watched God, what was it called? I've been watching it. The Men That Built America?
No.
It is just about how they were all terrible. Like, they're just all like the DuPonts,
DuPonts all made their money from selling gunpowder to the U.S. government during the Civil War. Like,
it's crazy when you look back on it. And then, all the oil barons, the Rockefellers.
Well, it's funny because my grandfather worked for, Ford Motor Company, and I grew up in a Ford family. Like, not only did he work for Ford, but his brother worked for Ford, and his other brother worked for Ford, and everybody, or as my grandfather says, it's either Ford's with an S or the Ford Motor Company. And it's either Ford's, he worked for Ford's, they worked for Ford's, or they worked for the Ford Motor Company. No one ever says Ford, full stop. Anyway.
We also said Kmart's because we're idiots in Michigan.
I think the final Kmart closed at the corner of Haggerty and Ann Arbor Road. I think that was like the final Kmart to be alive.
Well, isn't there one in Manhattan?
Oh,
there is.
Yeah.
It's closing down, but there is.
Not only
how that survived, I have no clue.
It is. The entrance is in Astor Place. You can get off the subway and walk into that Kmart without ever going outside.
It's amazing. I went the first time I came here because it was like a museum, and you can tell they've just had stuff forever.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's no way they unloaded. Like, I can't imagine. There's a guy standing outside with signs that said like 90% off, and still people are like, I'm good.
Yeah. They still have toilet paper in there.
Yeah, they probably do. Nobody just wants to go in and get it.
Good luck trying to get it under all that dust.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's like, do you have a beach ball? It seems like that kind of a place.
Do you guys have flip-flops? Sir, it's December. Look, where else am I going to go?
I'm going to a
Yes.
costume party. Let's go to Kmart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Of course we have flip-flops, sir. We've had them since 1988. They're right over here.
I hope you
Do you
dig
have
it.
men?
Do you mind if they say white snake on them?
Yes. Do you have 8-karat gold herringbone chains for men Tupac would wear? Is that
Do you have
available
VCR tape rewinders?
Hey,
we do. We have the cleaners as well, sir.
I'm looking for some Tab soft drinks.
Oh, to keep the woman's figure. That was their catchphrase. Yes, we do.
To keep the woman's figure.
There's a great old commercial for Tab, and it's a woman writing her husband a letter who's stuck in the office late about how she's keeping her figure for when he gets home.
By drinking
And it's
Tab.
Yeah, it's like drink Tab, so you're not a fat piece of shit, and he won't bang his secretary.
Drink Tab.
Tab.
Keep your figure and get a great kidney stone in the process.
Yeah, that's why it's the worst drink. I remember I was working for a liquor store back in the mid-'90s, and I was up on a ladder, and there was all this old Tab, and I was like, what is this shit? It was all in a pink can, and I guess they still made it at the time, but it was like 70s Tab. And I told my manager, and he's like, nobody wants that shit. Just leave it there. I'm like, oh, all right.
Wait a minute. Good until April of 1997.
Yeah, that's probably, it was probably long before they put expiration dates on stuff. Just sell it.
There's so many preservatives in there. Keep your figure forever while you rot in the grave. Tab.
Well, your stomach rots out.
Oh my God. How did I get this ulcer? Well, you had 2 cans of Tab.
Yeah, you thought Tab was a diet drink.
One right after the other, sir. I had once. Not that this is switching gears slightly, but I made the mistake once. When I turned 22, my parents were like, "You can go anywhere you want for dinner. We'll take you out. Where do you want to go?" And I said, "I want to go to Five Guys Burgers and Fries." And so we went to Five Guys, and I ate one.
And then you went to dinner? Sorry.
Yeah. I went one.
Such a bad joke.
I know. I went to Five Guys. And then I went to dinner. Then I went to Five Guys. And I said, no sauce needed. So I went to Five Guys, and I ate a double burger. And then when I finished it, I ate another double burger. And in my whole life, I've never wanted to die more than when I finished 2 Five Guys burgers back to back.
I'm a pig. I can't do that.
Oh my! I've never done it again, and I would never try. But holy shit, the first one was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like, because here's what it is. It's like getting a great hand job and then going, I'll take another one. And then the second time it happens, it's like getting punched in the balls. There you go.
It's no good. Or just, yeah. Oh, I can't imagine. Because I'll even get the little cheeseburger. I won't lie. I love a Five Guys, but I'm like, look, just give me one patty. I'm not here for a challenge. I just want a meal.
Yeah, did you get your picture on the wall, Brendon?
Yeah.
Yeah, they said, don't be like this idiot.
Yeah.
Cautionary tale.
They introduced shakes, and I was like, are you trying to lower America's productivity? Can you do anything after a Five Guys? People, you drive by that place, sometimes people are in there for lunch.
Oh, it's crazy. I don't know what you would do the rest of the day. And now they're probably just sitting at the corporate office like, what do we do with all these communal peanuts? That's not going to come back. Nobody's going to share peanuts anymore.
They got to send them to places like hurt urban communities hit up for nutritional food, like Delaware and places.
Yeah, where Biden is.
We're gonna
possibly your next president.
Slather this on your skin, sir. You'll live for 1,000 years. What a weird time to be. What a weird time.
Everything's terrible.
Everything's awful.
And you can't make jokes to do anything without people pigeonholing you into what side you should be and all this other shit where it's like, can't I just think everything's awful?
Yeah.
Aren't all things bad?
Well, yeah, so I'm looking around and this seems pretty terrible.
Everything was created equally awful. If you're a Christian like me,
Yeah, exactly. Well, yes. Well, if you're a Christian right now, at least you do know that God's punishing people for anal sex. You can sleep tight.
As tight as you possibly can.
And very tight, or else you're going to go with them. It is amazing how it's like there's 70 people that died in an old folks' home. It's like, yeah, you should investigate the people killing people and not taking care of people in an old. That's a COVID-19.
Yeah,
It's
what
abuse.
are they walking around? I mean, these poor people who work in this environment are probably walking around sharing people's food utensils with everybody in there.
Yeah.
They're just like, I can't get a break otherwise.
Yeah, I'm OCD anyway. That's why when I travel back and forth, it's like people are like, how can you do that? I'm like, well, first of all, there's 3 people on the plane. I get upgraded to first class. It's like having my own jet.
I flew from New York to Chicago. I was one of 4 people on the entire flight. And
It's crazy.
It was crazy. And the stewardess walked right up to me and she was like, flight attendant, pardon me, walked right up to me and she was like, what do you want? And I'm like, what do you want? What do you mean? And she's like, whatever you want. What do you want? Wine? You want beer? You want liquor? I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. And I said,
we actually still have some tabs in the
Can I get a Jack Daniels and a tab, please?
Please.
At this point, tab tastes like Jägermeister.
And
That's
I
how
haven't
thick
gotten
it is
Corona.
Oh.
Correlation?
with the age.
All I'm saying, there could be some sort of medicine in there. Isn't there?
Sure, I have the kidney stone the size of my graduation ring, but no Corona, my friend.
None.
Oh, shit.
Although I might have corona, just no symptoms.
Just no symptoms.
I love that part of the disease.
Yeah,
you
right?
might have no symptoms or you're going to die. Is there a middle ground? No, it's death or nothing.
Yeah, you're either going to die or you'll be fine. One of the two
Yeah,
will
you'll
happen.
have no idea you have it. You might, but yeah. other
At
than
day
that,
10 is
you're
when the
dead.
ship either sinks or comes into port.
Yes.
That's the type of successful I am. I'm very successful. I just have no symptoms.
Yes.
Actually, you can't tell. I carry it to other people.
God damn it, Lance, that's so funny. I'm actually the most successful man you've ever met, just no symptoms.
You do look like you have a lot of knowledge and a lot of books. Like the fact that there's not just books behind you is kind of upsetting right now. Because every news anchor is just books behind them.
Yeah.
Have you seen that at home?
Just unread copies of old, these are my Hardy Boys collection. And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
I've got
Yeah. I've got my Britannicas, Boxcar Children.
Sweet Valley High.
Yes. These are my
This is my
R.L.
very rare
Steins.
collection of a signed Babysitters Club.
Yeah, this is it. Oh, these are all mine. I got them all from a book fair in 1985.
Oh, Jesus. Dave, we should wrap up with you, man. I know you got shit to do, dude. I thank you so much for joining us at the Happiest Hour.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Dude, what do you got? Where can people follow you, follow your shit, figure out what you got going on next, whenever it is you get back on stage?
DaveLandau.com. They can go to compoundmedia.com to subscribe. And yeah, I have some shows coming up, hopefully in Detroit, Florida, at the end of next month, I guess, starting tomorrow. Hopefully at the end of May. I'm just hoping.
Yeah, I know. It would be nice to get out of this and get back in a room. 1 out of 4 people has antibodies in New York, so they might as well open the fucking club up because.
Yeah, I think everybody's had it or whatever. Who knows? And then maybe you can get it again. Just let people die.
You can't die from a hoax.
But they keep saying I can.
Dave, thank you so much, man. Take it easy, buddy.
All right.
Make sure to be well and vote Bernie in 2020.
yeah, that's going to happen.
Peace, brother.
Later.
Take care.
Later.
Hey, man.
Oh, my God, man. David. can't
So
die
funny.
from a hoax.
So funny. I stole that from your uncle, by the way.
Did you really? Did you listen to that?
No, I didn't. No, you just told me about it.
No.
I do want to listen to that though.
You should, man. I'm recording
It's called
another
Unk something.
Unkphew, UNCPHEW, Unkphew. Yeah, we're recording another episode tomorrow. He's got a whole bunch in the can, my uncle, just from way back in the day, and he's starting to release them. So my political aspirations are shot in the I mean, totally shot in the foot.
No, man, you can cover up anything. I mean,
Look at the Clintons.
yeah.
My uncle, every once in a while, it's like the longer we talk about politics, my uncle will eventually be like, well, do you believe in the Clinton body count or not? And I'm like, Clinton body count sounds like the best energy drink I've ever heard of.
Yeah, is the video acting right on your end? Because on my end, Dave is still on, but
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I don't know. It looks like Dave is still on mine also, which is bizarre. But it's not projecting to Ecamm, so
yes,
tech
just as long as our
only
Facebook,
Skype is having.
just as long as Twitch is happy, we're good.
Oh, Twitch is great. Twitch has shown me no love lately. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, you got to do this more and more. Maybe they'll start tuning in.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll
As
figure
soon as
it
I-
out. We got
as soon
plenty
as
of
I
time.
hit
Ain't
up
got
Twitch-
nothing else to do, buddy.
With my Vice City podcast or whatever on Twitch.
Have you been doing that? Have you been twitching on?
No, I haven't.
You got to do it, dude. You just go use a switchboard. I gave you the login stuff. Just go log in and
Yeah.
start broadcasting that stuff. It'd be fun to watch you play, actually.
Yeah, it would be fun, and maybe I could comment on things and.
I think that would be a good. I feel like that's exactly this is how people do these things these days. It's not like we got anything better to do. You know?
Right. No, I don't have anything. That was a really fun interview, though.
I love Dave, man. I mean, you can see why he's he's a total pro. He's just a fun ass dude to hang out with. The best part of I've done a bunch of comedy with Dave at a bunch of different locations now, and the funnest thing to do with him, honest to God, is like in between his act is hilarious. He's a very funny man, but in between when we're just hanging out in the green room, in between shows, and he's just talking about whatever, it's like I would be in stitches, dude. Before he even got on Anthony Cumia, he's just so funny to listen to, and he'll tell stories about shit that he did in like 1992 that is just like the most insane. You're like, why? You're 14. Why are you doing any of this shit, Dave? Like, why are you? How do you know how to tie a dumpster to the back of a pickup truck? That doesn't make any sense, Dave. Like, the guy's just amazing. What do you got on the happiest? I mean, the happiest hour. Jesus, this is the happiest hour. What do you got going on at the
Lancey Joe and Venmo
show? Yeah.
I think I've got Laura, the hilarious Laura Hug, is going to be there tonight.
Dude, she's so funny.
Yeah,
we need to have her on this
funny.
show. Talk to her about that tonight. We'll get her on here tomorrow.
I will.
I think tomorrow we got. I'm not sure. I got to talk to Jarrell Scott Barnes is going to be on one of these 2 days, and Laura Hug ought to be on the other one because she's hilarious.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll just continue to cannibalize one another's audience until such time that one of these becomes viral, I suppose.
Yes. Man, is it hot in your new house?
Yeah, it's physically warm. Why? What do you?
I'm sweating,
dude.
Right,
well, Dave has a tendency to do that to people.
Yeah, I've felt it.
Oh, buddy. Well, Lancey, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, man. This is a lot of fun. I guess we'll go ahead
great
and
stuff.
Wind up, let you cool down over there. And
well, for the next few days, I'll be rooting you on as you continue moving. I say the next few days. I mean,
it's going to be another 24 hours at least, dude. This thing has been fucking ridiculous.
The next few months, as you're moving
through lifestyles. Yeah.
And Brendon's moved. This has taken him an entire week to move his things, and he moved 200 foot from his apartment now. down the street. That's what he's not telling you. Look it up on Google Maps.
It's literally like 3 blocks. It's the fucking.
It's the same dot.
It's the worst move I've ever had in my life, dude. It's so bad. It's been really rough. It's like literally every step of the process has been challenging. So,
well, I did that once where I literally moved an apartment from the upstairs to the downstairs, like because my 2 roommates were us and them were pretty loud, so we didn't want anybody moving below us or living below us anymore. And so when that person left, we moved downstairs, and that was the hardest move because you don't consolidate anything because you're thinking, oh, it's just right there.
Oh yeah, it's just right there. We'll just move over, and so it's like 100 little trips, and then after a minute, you're like, Jesus, this is how did I not think this would? But if you only have like the one truck, and you just load the truck and then you unload the truck. But like,
so is it like a U-Haul truck that you've rented
for one day to get to get a lot of major stuff, and like this space is probably 2/3 the size of the other space. It's a lot, man. It's ridiculous. I need to write jokes about it. That's the only way I'm going to survive. But
yeah,
Lancey Joe, thank you so much, man. And thank you, audience member, for tuning in to the Happiest Hour, 5:30 Central, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern, and 11:30 GMT. All right, take it easy, Lancey. Be well, man.
Bye.
Bye. Mm-hmm.